What's going on, guys? Welcome to the video. We're gonna be doing something a little bit different today. I gotta cook and I'm starving, and I'm just gonna kind of talk to you guys as I do that. I'm making scrambled eggs for dinner. I realized that, that might sound ass backwards, but I've taken a liking to cooking one of my 2 meals a day. And I also really enjoy going out to eat, but like doing it strategically. So like I'm not trying to, at least anymore, blow money unnecessarily. So my meal usually consists of either Qdoba or Chipotle. Shout out to Alex Ramosi for that idea. But well, actually, you know what? I can't even say it was entirely him. That's just kind of how the cookie's crumbled. And it's easy, it's healthy, and I always get extra chicken. It's like $10 to $15, and that's my expensive meal a day. And then this is my cheap meal a day. It's just scrambled eggs. So I feel really good today. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I have been probably the most productive I've been in a while, and I only say that because today was my first day driving for Uber and Lyft. I did it this morning for like 6 hours. I got up at 4 a.m. and I drove until like 11-ish. My last ride I dropped off right before 11, and I got to work late, which is why it's late now, and it's like 7:10-ish. And I just now got home and I wanted to record this video. But this is something I've been kind of waiting for a while, just like doing Uber and Lyft. Why did I have to wait for it? Because of the bureaucracy bullshit of freaking Colorado, like all the regulations that I had to kind of jump through to get my car registered, to get my car inspected. You have to get a different form for Lyft and Uber, so that was kind of a pain in the ass. And yeah, it was a lot, and it took a while, but I finally got approved yesterday, and today was my first time driving. I've kind of been debating in my head how I want to go about doing this. Do I want to like drive Uber in the morning, or do I want to drive it after work? And to be honest with you, just going off of how today went, like I got up at 4 a.m. I got my first like ride, which was an airport run, which was good, those are the money makers. But I didn't have any other rides for like 30 minutes, so I was just sitting in the freaking parking lot. So I don't know if it's worth it to do the airport or to do it in the morning, aside from like a airport run. So I don't know. I might just not do that and just get to work a little bit earlier so I could bounce around like 3 and then just Uber straight until like 8 at night or something. Because I feel torn because, on one hand, I want to use my extra time to put into my side projects and my, skill building activities, which would be, this YouTube channel and getting my photography, marketing, and brand and all that shit ironed out, because it's a lot. But at the end of the day, I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I can probably put an hour into that. It's either going to be photography or the YouTube channel. I'm probably going to edit for like an hour here and there throughout the week, and then most of the weekend, and then photography, kind of the same deal. And yeah, that's just kind of where I'm at. So I think I'm just gonna try driving through Uber tomorrow after work, see how that goes, get up super early again. I definitely feel myself getting tired, which is kind of good. Cause I got up early, and even though I drove for like 6 hours straight and then went to work, I don't always get tired. Like last night was kind of a good example, but maybe not actually, but I just couldn't fall asleep right away, so kind of a pain in the ass. But that being said, I think it's really important to take responsibility for your own life, and that's something that I haven't really been doing, to be honest, and to be like kind of transparent, like with my like traveling and stuff. Like, not that I regret my travels this year or like really anything that I did this year. I don't have any regrets, but there are things that I've been putting off constantly, and time isn't going to go any slower. No one's going to come and save me from anything except for myself. So I started driving Uber and Lyft because I need the extra cash flow so I can nip my student loans in the tail. I'm very grateful that I don't have a lot of student loans. Like, some people might have upwards of 50K or more. I got like 12, just to be transparent with you guys. And it's something that's just been kind of been eating at me slowly but surely. Like while I was unemployed, I was just making the minimum payment. But like when I was employed, and especially during that little period where I was like living at home again, and before too, I was like kicking those in the tail, like, and it was really good. I got my loans down from like 33K down to 12, and I'm pretty proud of that, not gonna lie. So not to distract myself too much, not to toot my own horn too much, but yeah, I think being debt free is important, and I don't think I really care too much to start investing, but I do care more to, I've already started to invest. So the dilemma that I've been kind of mentally going through in my head is like, do I want to pay off my loans slower so that I can invest more in the short term? Or do I want to just go balls to the wall, completely debt free, and then increase my investing? And I'm leaning on the latter, to be honest with you guys, because I just don't want to have any freaking debt. I really don't. And it's just, that's the main thing that's keeping me from doing anything like really insane. Like full stop quitting my job to travel again, or like to try to get out of the typical 9-to-5 bullshit. Look at that, nice and crisp. One of my burners doesn't work, so that's fun. So I have to use the farther back, the rear. So I gotta use the rear burner. But it is what it is, just apartment things. But yeah, guys, I feel really good today because, like, I don't know, when I like see my time being well spent and like getting monetary compensation for it, like directly, like seeing the $150 that I got from Uber today, even though like I did the margin profit thing, so like I spent what did I spend? $44.50 on gas, and then tolls as well, I think. I can't remember if Uber takes the tolls out of the client's pay or mine, but in either case, paying for gas and then the coffee, the $6 coffee that I got from Starbucks to refuel, that put me at like $100 for like 6 hours of work. And I'm not really too butthurt over that at all, because if I were to go out again tonight for like 2-3 hours, which I'm not going to because I gotta sleep, I could probably get that up to like $200 profit, and just doing that for like 5 days a week, or even doing like a little extra time on the weekend so that I could make an extra $1,000 a week. I will be debt free 12 weeks from now. Like, and that's just Uber pay going straight to my loans, and that just makes me feel so freaking happy. And what's even better is that is like worst case scenario from today moving forward, because I do have enough money left over from my primary job monthly income to also throw out my loans. I don't think I'm going to do that as aggressively because I would rather just have that money saved towards like my I'm gonna live off of this in the future fund while I go balls to the wall with starting my own thing. But I could literally be debt free like 12 weeks from now, and that'll put me right on the cusp of my next trip, I think, or either right up to it or like right afterwards. But in any case, I think it's really awesome, and I think it's really important for people to just work hard. Honestly, like I feel really good when I know that like my efforts are not in vain and I'm like actually working on something meaningful. And becoming debt free is probably step one in ending my engineering career. And step two would be making enough money to live off of for a year while I figure things out. So just knowing that I'm making progress on that now really just lights me up. And I realized that the only reason why I've had success on YouTube is because at the end of the day, you know, even if it's like one video gaining more traction than the rest, I'm just authentically being myself for you guys and just kind of talking to the camera like this. And it honestly kind of helps the fact that I'm going through a period of loneliness right now, or a season of solitude, I should say, because I don't necessarily feel lonely. You know, I'm pretty content. I have, you know, no, I honestly, those feelings have subsided more so than when I was living in Massachusetts. I got pretty lonely living in Massachusetts, but now that I feel like aligned to what I'm doing, like it feels pretty good. So to be honest with you guys, the idea to work 2 or 3 jobs I got from Brandon Carter primarily. He's somebody that I found through How to Beast, because How to Beast had him on a podcast earlier this year, and I didn't start watching him right away, but his videos were eventually like recommended to me, and I really just jived with the guy's sense of humor and overall message, but like his sense of humor really just hit it home for me. So shout out to Brandon Carter. I don't expect him to watch this, but he was literally the reason why I got another job. Well, part of it, because like it made too much sense, because if I were to rely on my engineering job to pay off my debt, I think that's just way too freaking risky, because I'm working a contract job, which means I could get laid off at any time for any reason. And, you know, even if I'm doing a good job. So I just have that in the back of my head as long as I'm a contractor. And, you know, if I take my time and just throw like an extra $1,000 at my loans every month, that'll put me at a year of just sitting on my ass waiting for the debt to go away. And then that's another year of me not taking action on what I actually want out of life. And that's just a waste of fucking time. So I'd rather work a little bit harder now. I've done it before under tougher circumstances. When I was in school and university, I worked 2 jobs. Both were part-time, but as well as being a full-time student, an engineering student. I won't even allocate it to just STEM. I'll say, like, you know, if you're working some kind of intensive college degree, and you know, there's different tiers of how hard it can be, but it's not easy to hold a job while you're studying in school. So, you know, the fact that I'm not in school and I can just work right now just gives me a huge advantage just in general, because yeah, I think I'm getting my edge back and it feels really good. I've honestly kind of thought that I'm not pushing myself hard enough, or I wouldn't say that. I've been low-key self-conscious that I've lost my ability to push myself hard, because I still procrastinate on things and I still, you know, oh, I can do it tomorrow, but that mentality is so toxic. And today was like the first day of I'm not that I'm going to be driving Uber for the rest of my life, but once I pay off my debt, I can actually do what I want to do in life. Like I can just, you know, take that extra time and reinvest it into the things, the other bigger, higher leverage tasks that'll make me more money. And I could still even drive Uber if I felt like I needed to, but like I don't think I'm going to do that super long term. Maybe 6 months. I think 6 months will put me in a good spot of driving Uber. And it's cool to also meet people, and it's an interesting marketing, networking thing too, because once I get business cards for my content, photography, videography stuff, you know, I can throw them in my car, and it's a nice little way to just advertise to people, but be super low-key about it. But yeah, guys, I just want to come on here and talk to you guys because, well, like I said, this is kind of scratching the whole loneliness thing for me. But I think it's really important to just work hard and get after whatever it is that you're working towards in life, especially if you're like younger. You know, I'm not saying like I wish I drove Uber or anything like that before, but now I feel the pressure to get out of debt just because it's going to be another thing hanging over my head that'll prevent me from doing what I actually want to do. If I were to get laid off from my job tomorrow, I'd feel okay because I could just go and drive Uber for 8 or 10 hours a day. And even though that's mega mileage on my car, at least I'm making money. So, you know, I feel, even though it's not passive income, I feel more secure knowing that I have different streams of income coming in. So, with that being said, I hope you guys get something out of this. I hope I can inspire you by being a little bit vulnerable, but nothing too dramatic. And I will catch you on the next one.